Kaotoxin Records is becoming one of my favorite record labels, and this is a band that explains why perfectly. Darkall Slaves is a brutal death metal band that comes from France. They formed back in 2005. They put out a promo back in 2008 that acted as their demo, and I guess it was enough to attract the attention of Kaotoxin Records because now they have a brand new single out, Abysses of Seclusion. Now, I did get to hear the entire single. The intro actually has the camera sound effects from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that kind of noise. Then it goes into some really muffled and altered speaking parts. I'm not sure what it's saying. I can't really make it out. It's just going on and on for a good while. The song, it lasts over a minute, not too much more than that. It's a pretty basic, brutal death metal song. I mean, there's nothing too much really that stands out. The first half it's just pretty standard, but it's very well executed. It's very catchy. I caught myself bobbing my head along. However, the latter half of the song is really what stands out. It really becomes a lot more chaotic. There's a lot more intensity. There's plenty of blast beats going on. There's some technicality in the guitar work that really stood out. I really enjoyed the song. I much preferred the last half over everything else. And then the final song of the single kicks in, Abysses of Seclusion. And this one, right from the start, it basically just goes straight for the throat. It's a pretty intense and chaotic track right from the very beginning. It's very consistent, doesn't really let up. There's a good deal of technicality in the chords and the bass everywhere. Just hammers away. The drumming has plenty of blast beats. That just really establishes the pounding, commanding atmosphere of the song, which is what I really enjoyed. Very well done. Again, catchy as hell. Towards the end, there are two slam breakdowns, and they actually work very well with the song. My only gripe, however, was that the audio, the audio is pretty good, but the guitars have more of a mid-range distortion to them. Had they been a little deeper, I would have appreciated it a lot more. Plus, one of the biggest gripes I had about this single was the vocals. The way the vocals are handled, it's pretty standard for the brutal death metal. You got the snarling, muffled vocal approach. It's kind of sickening in a way, and has the vile raspiness in the back of the throat at times that acts more in the background. Every once in a while, you'll hear pig squeals too, but they're very, very minimal. If you're not even paying attention, you won't catch them. I think I only heard them twice the entire time. So I enjoy pig squeals to an extent, but when an entire album or anything is just nothing but that, it does start to wear on me, and this very rarely uses them. So that's good. Just the track itself is pretty aggressive, and honestly, it's a lot better than the first song. This is actually pretty good. The guitars, like I said, have more of a mid-range distortion to them. It was pretty rich, though. Not rich. It was thick. It sounded pretty good. The bass had more of a twang going on to it. It really worked, especially when things did get a little hollow here and there. It was mostly on the first song. The drums sounded rich all around. They had a very, very deep sound in the snares, and even the bass kick, which had a nice click to them. The cymbals were a little further in the background. They were a little thin in comparison to everything else. I have no real complaints about the production. Maybe just a little deeper overall. The vocals really needed a little more enthusiasm. They just really, they weren't bland. They weren't tired. They just sounded like, okay, I'm going in. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it over with. Let's get this done. Like that kind of thing. The mentality of let's just get this over with. No real gripes. They were good. It's just very random moments where they had energy, which a lot of times was when they were a little layered, where they had the rasp and the snarling going on at the same time. So a little more enthusiasm there would have been nice to match the often enthusiastic music. Overall, this single is actually worth it. If you're a fan of brutal death metal, I definitely suggest you pick it up. It's a really enjoyable single. It definitely leaves you wanting to hear the full-length album, as I said. Can't really say much more about it. It's just a pretty standard brutal death metal approach, but they do bring in a lot of chaos at times, especially in that second track, the title track of the single. So if you happen to be a fan, definitely check. If you happen to be a fan of the style, I should say, definitely check it out. Visit Kaotoxin's website. Check this band out. They're definitely worth it. Out of the scale of 10, I gotta give this an 8. It's very well done. I really enjoyed it. I will gladly throw this on anytime. It's on my MP3 player right now, actually, and I will probably give this a spin while I'm at work and when I'm bored.